The light from lanterns illuminated the wooden stalls, while the sound of conversations and laughter mingled with the clinking of coins. Matteo strolled among the vendors, pausing occasionally to admire the exotic items and the scent of fresh food in the air. The street was bustling with people dressed in heavy winter attire, and the aroma of roasted meat, warm bread, and spices filled the atmosphere. The night air grew colder, but the market's energy kept the city vibrant. While haggling over the price of an antique blade with a gray-bearded merchant, a murmur rippled through the crowd. Some looked up at the sky, pointing to a star that seemed to pulse with reddish hues. Matteo followed the collective gaze and felt a shiver. It wasn't a star. It was larger, closer, and its light cast long shadows over the rooftops. An old map seller approached, his voice trembling. "They say it's a piece of the sky falling. It's happened before, centuries ago. Legends speak of an object buried in the mountains, something that could change the course of destiny." Matteo tucked the blade into his pouch, distracted by the clinking of coins. He didn't believe in legends, but the glow on the horizon seemed to defy his reason. Later, in a dimly lit tavern, Matteo found Mirella, an ancient history scholar he knew from the markets. She held a worn parchment, her eyes fixed on a circular symbol drawn in golden ink. "This map," she said, "points to a forgotten temple. There, an artifact lies capable of altering what is to come." Matteo frowned. Mirella had always been cautious, but now there was urgency in her voice. "It's not a defense," she continued. "It's a mirror. It reflects what we are, but amplifies. If the asteroid is indeed a threat, perhaps it responds to this." Outside the window, the celestial object shone brighter, dyeing the clouds a deep crimson. That night, as the city slept, Matteo and Mirella followed the map to a hidden trail nestled between the mountains. The air was thick, laden with the scent of damp earth and moss. In the center of a clearing, half buried beneath lichen-covered stones, lay the artifact, an obsidian sphere studded with metallic fragments that pulsed in sync with the asteroid. Touching it, Matteo felt a wave of heat course through his arm, followed by fleeting images, ruined cities, unknown faces screaming, and a voice whispering in a dead language. Mirella recoiled, her breath quickening. "It's connecting with it. The asteroid isn't just a piece of rock. It's a key." As dawn broke, news spread. The artifact began attracting people. Peasants, merchants, even children abandoned their routines and followed towards the mountains, like puppets guided by an invisible string. Matteo and Mirella, now accompanied by a group of curious and desperate individuals, decided to bring the artifact back to the city. However, the closer they got, the more the object pulsed, and the asteroid in the sky grew larger, casting distorted shadows that seemed to come alive on the walls. In the central square, an old man fell to his knees before the sphere, murmuring, "He has chosen us, not to save, but to reveal." That night, as the city council debated whether to destroy the artifact or use it, the asteroid pierced the atmosphere. The sky transformed into a whirlwind of colors, and the sphere emitted a low hum, causing everyone to fall to the ground. Matteo, holding the obsidian against his chest, saw Mirella vanish amidst a blinding light. When the air cleared, the asteroid was gone. In its place hovered an exact replica of the sphere, now floating above the city. No one knew if it was a blessing or a curse, but all felt that the true threat had never been the object in the sky, but what it had awakened within them. The artifact, now in the city center, shone with an intensity that outshone the lanterns. People arrived from all directions, extending their hands towards the sphere, as if pulled by invisible strings. A local blacksmith, a sturdy man with calloused hands, dropped his hammer and walked trance-like to the square, muttering, "He called me. I need to see what's inside." Even children stopped playing, their eyes fixed on the object, while parents tried in vain to restrain them. Matteo watched, torn between curiosity and fear. Mirella, on the other hand, spent hours studying the artifact, noting symbols only she understood. "This isn't magic," she once said softly. "It's a language. A conversation between the sky and the earth." On the third night, the artifact's brilliance became unbearable. The light pulsed in the rhythm of a heartbeat, and the air vibrated with a low hum. A group of merchants, led by a man named Darium, tried to steal the artifact, believing its power would bring them riches. But upon touching the obsidian, They fell to the ground, screaming about visions of burning cities and dried-up seas. Matteo rushed to help, but Mirella held him back. "It is not for us to interfere. The artifact chooses who may touch it." Meanwhile, the asteroid in the sky seemed to react to the chaos. Its reddish light reflected in the windows, like blood. The next day, a stranger arrived in the city. Dressed in worn traveler's clothes and carrying a book without a cover, its pages filled with constellation drawings. He introduced himself as Renat and said he had seen the same symbol from Mirella's parchment in distant ruins. "The artifact is not a weapon," he stated after hours of conversation in the tavern. "It's a mirror. It shows what each one fears or desires. And the asteroid, it doesn't come to destroy. It comes to balance." His words hung heavy in the air, like the sudden fog that blanketed the city. That dawn, the artifact emitted a beam of light that struck the asteroid, creating a luminous arc connecting the sky and the earth. People fell to their knees, weeping or laughing, as voices whispered in unison, "You will be judged by what you see." The next morning, the city was unrecognizable. Stalls were abandoned, doors left open, and the once vibrant market was silent. The artifact, now floating a few feet above the ground, drew crowds with hands raised in supplication or defiance. Even the animals avoided the square, howling in the distance. Mirella had vanished, leaving only her journal, with notes about the chosen ones and the weight of reflection. Matteo, alone, held the antique blade he had bought days before, wondering if he would cut his own reflected image in the artifact or use it to destroy it. The asteroid, now so close that details of its surface were visible, seemed to observe everything, waiting. The luminous arc between the artifact and the asteroid intensified, transforming the square into a whirlwind of light and shadow. People screamed disjointed words. Some laughed hysterically, others wept, as if revisiting long-buried memories. Matteo, holding Mirella's journal, read a hastily scribbled phrase, "The mirror does not show the future. It shows what is already here." Renat, standing beside the sphere, opened the book without a cover and pointed to a drawing of a circular constellation. "This symbol represents balance," he said. "The asteroid is not a threat, but a response. We are the ones who are unbalanced." Suddenly, the artifact emitted a sharp sound, and the asteroid froze in the sky. A heavy silence descended upon the city, so dense that Matteo could hear his own heart beating. Then, voices began echoing, not from the sky or the sphere, but from the houses, wells, even the stones. They were the voices of everyone who had ever lived there, repeating the same mistakes, the same fears. "You ask for salvation," they said, "but you do not save yourselves." Mirella emerged from the crowd, her eyes shining as if they had seen the infinite. "It will not destroy us," she cried, her voice trembling. "It will show us. The asteroid is a reflection, a judgment of all that we are." Before anyone could respond, the artifact's light enveloped everyone. Matteo saw the blacksmith, who had previously sought only riches, kneeling, begging forgiveness for years of greed. He saw children holding the hands of parents who had never noticed their loneliness. And he saw himself, years ago, abandoning his family in pursuit of empty adventures. Then, the asteroid began to recede, its light fading until it became just a distant star. The artifact fell to the ground, inert, its surface cracked. The city remained silent, as if time had stopped. Some residents ran away, ashamed. Others embraced, weeping. Matteo picked up the broken sphere and looked at Renat, who nodded. "Now you understand," he said. "The danger never came from the sky. We were the danger all along." Days later, life in the city returned to normal, but nothing was the same. The market reopened, but conversations were quieter, laughter more restrained. Mirella departed to study other ruins, taking with her the journal and more questions than answers. Matteo carried the broken sphere as a reminder. At night, when the sky was clear, he still saw the distant star, now just a point among millions. But he knew that somewhere another artifact awaited, and another asteroid was coming. Humanity had been warned, but no one knew how long the lesson would last.